Hello everybody, Josh12 back here again with another video, and I'm here with another Arrow review. Yes, I'm here to give you my official review for Arrow Season 4, Episode 20, titled Genesis. Now, of course, if you haven't seen this episode, please go check it out, because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into the newest episode of CW's Arrow. Now, let's point it out there, my main problem with this freaking episode is just the overall convenience of the episode. I feel like what they should have done, instead of calling this episode Genesis, they should have just called it Coincidence or Convenience, because that's basically what this episode's all about. Everything happens in a very convenient and coincidental kind of way in this episode, which is deeply annoying. Now, let me put it out there. I know I've kind of seen, not really to a certain extent, but I've kind of seen a lot of feedback for the previous episodes of Arrow discussing the death of Laurel and all that kind of stuff. For me personally, I feel like the previous two episodes that dealt with the Laurel debacle, or the Black Canary debacle, have been the best episodes of Arrow Season 4 thus far. I think they're just fucking phenomenal. Unless you consider the Legends of Tomorrow Future Star City episode an Arrow episode, then I would actually consider that to be the best Arrow episode of the entire season. Although it is on Legends instead of on Arrow, but whatever, it's the same universe, if you will. But at the end of the day, those were some of the best episodes we've got, and I feel like they executed it perfectly. However, this, as a post-Laurel Black Canary death, cemetery, grave, put in the grave episode, really wasn't that great. Everything was just done in a way to just set up towards the finale, and it's okay, it's just not phenomenal, and I think that's the biggest thing I can take away from this episode. However, my biggest positives towards this episode has to be Diggle and his relationship with Andy, and how that progresses throughout this episode. Diggle is a very interesting and fun and entertaining character in the Arrowverse, but I think the biggest thing that takes away from his character in this episode is the fact that he is definitely going over the line, and that's definitely a big major impact in the finale portion of this episode, which I don't really feel like it was executed as perfectly as they might have thought they could have done. I mean, let's put it out there. Diggle crossed the line in this episode. I'm going to point it out there. Spoilers, he actually ends up murdering his brother, Andy. Granted, there's a very specific scenario that's in place for this sequence to happen. Regardless of any of that, it's still kind of messy that in a world where we don't kill anybody anymore, buddy, you killed a guy. So it is what it is. I really wish they could have done something to really make sure that Diggle is dealing with so much after this. I mean, this is what he wanted. Don't get anything twisted. This is what he wanted. He has a grudge against Andy. He feels desperate. He feels responsible for the death of Laurel because of how much he trusted Andy stupidly and hilariously in the previous episodes. So, I was really hoping for a really gut punch, a really deep, dark gut punch in this episode, and we kind of didn't get that. We were almost there. There were some very interesting portions with Andy and Diggle's, talking in their conversations throughout the episode, and of course, the inevitable impact and finale of the episode. But regardless of any of that, it may have been my biggest positives of the episode, but not really anything extravagant execution-wise. Regardless of any of that, another thing that really points out to me that was really awesome with this episode is the name drops of Constantine, and of course we got to see a glimpse and cameo of Deathstroke. Let's put it out there. I fucking love Constantine. I thought it was an amazing TV show. It wasn't extravagant to the nth degree. However, it was still a pretty great show, and it was canceled. Then they got that show, and they crossed it over with Arrow, so now Constantine exists in the Arrowverse. Let's put it out there. Please, CW, use the character some more. I'm pretty sure the actor's off doing his own thing, but I really hope one of these days they get Constantine back for a future episode. And when it comes to Deathstroke, I'm not gonna lie, seeing that little glimpse of Deathstroke punch Oliver in the face in that one little magical dream sequence kind of thing, oh my god, it was badass. It was so freaking great. I really hope one day they can, somehow CW can, schedule Manu Bennett to come back for a cameo appearance on the show, because I'm just saying that the longer Manu Bennett's not on Arrow, the more I despise Arrow and have a grudge against it. It's just, he was the gateway into me getting into this whole CW DC universe thing, and now that he's gone, it just deeply disappoints me. So hopefully one of these days they can get him on there, especially considering that due to Legends of Tomorrow, there is a future story arc that they could approach in a future season where the son of Deathstroke, if you will, could come and take over Star City and pretty much demolish Team Arrow. So hopefully one of these days they can schedule this in for a future season, but I'm just gonna not lie. Those were the two best things, other than the whole Diggle scenario, those were the two best things I can take away from the episode. The name drops to Constantine, and of course a quick little glimpse of Deathstroke's costume. Of course it wasn't Manu Bennett or whatever, or maybe it was, but at the end of the day, it was just still cool to see those factors. Regardless of any of that, we get into some newer high gear subplots with Thea on vacation with that guy in some kind of weird Truman Show kind of scenario. Then you have over here on the other side Oliver and Felicity off doing their own antics, trying to find a solution, if you will, to one day defeat Damien Dark, which has a lot to do with the magic arts, if you will. And let's just put it out there, really didn't care for that scenario that much. I'm really don't understand what they were trying to go for. Oliver and Felicity go on this weird, it was kind of like the Diggle scenario or plotline in this episode was the only important thing that has anything to do with the overall universe and season, or have any kind of real emotional impact. But regardless, the Oliver, Felicity, and Thea stuff is so wacky and over the top. It's like coincidence after coincidence after, here's a wacky come out of left field kind of scenario where we can just throw a monkey wrench in the corner and just say, here, we're getting towards the finale, folks. Here's some cool, weird shit that has to deal with magic. It's like, really? You had to mess things up, or at least convolute the story even more by having a character that's overpowered by dark magic, if you will, wink wink, and then you have to bring in this weird, sexy, wacko, freaking magical mistress kind of chick come over and show you the magical arts that doesn't really go anywhere, and somehow Oliver can use that to win. Coincidence and convenience. I'm telling you, that's what they should have called this freaking episode. Regardless of any of this, my final verdict for this episode has to be a solid, I would say, 5.5 out of 10. It was an okay episode. I feel like majority of the episode was kind of, to a certain degree, garbage, but it is what it is. I really enjoyed the previous last episodes that dealt with the death of Black Canary and, of course, Laurel, the absence of Laurel. I didn't expect to really impact me as much as it did, and it freaking was phenomenal. So I was really hoping for some more impactful episodes, especially considering we're getting closer to the finale of Arrow and The Flash. So it is what it is, but let me know what you personally think in the comment section below. What are your personal thoughts on this episode of Arrow? What are your personal thoughts on Oliver's journey to counteract Damien Dark's powers and magic, if you will? Is Felicity and Oliver gonna be a thing again? Who the hell knows? And what's Thea in? She's some kind of weird hive bubble. It's really wacky, and I don't know how Diggle and John is gonna freaking deal with the impacts of, or the repercussions of killing his own brother, but I guess in the comic book quote-unquote TV universe, it won't really matter at the end of the day, considering, you know, shit happens, and there's fucking dudes with fire abilities, and a guy who can shrink, and some people went into the future or past, and then there's a guy who can run really fast. So it is what it is. I guess everybody can just do whatever. So let me know what you personally think in the comment section below about this episode. It was okay, it just wasn't amazing, but let me know what you personally think. Shameless plug time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jonk12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I hope you guys enjoyed, and this has been Jonk12.